Welcome to Small Arms Solutions. Today we're looking at another Geissele. It's been probably a few years since I've done anything on Geissele with their Super Duty rifle. And those of you who are familiar with Geissele is top tier in this industry. They are probably one of the most well-known. They make some of the best products that are out there, everything from lower receiver components to barrels to upper receivers. They do a lot of U.S. government work, SOCOM work, as well as foreign military work with their upper receivers. And pretty much everything that they make. Bill Geissele is legendary throughout this industry for being a problem solver for SOCOM, for everybody. The last rifle that we reviewed was their standard Super Duty. A couple of years ago, they come out with a new rifle, which they referred to as their Super Duty Mod 1. And the main differences between the Super Duty and the Mod 1 are the addition of the Huxworks flash suppressor mount, again, which we'll be testing with the Huxworks suppressor. Updated super modular rail with a press-fit stainless steel QD mount. The new A17 pistol grip. Those are your major changes between this and the original rifle. So when you take a look at these rifles, you have a significant amount of pieces on here that are specifically designed by Geissele. And these are all parts that you could actually get for your own rifles as upgrades. Let's give you a little bit more information on this rifle. Overall length, collapsed stock, 31 1/8 inch. Length extended, 35 1/4 inches. Weight, 6 pounds, 7 ounces. And we're going to be going through each of the components on these receivers. Starting from the rear, we have a B5 enhanced mod stock. This basically comes on all the different ones that they have. The receiver extension is manufactured by Geissele as well. The lower receivers are Super Duty lower receiver. Now, these are strictly a mil-spec type. There's no ambidextrous features on these. Probably the only really way I could criticize this rifle was the fact that it does not have any updated ambi features of some of the other rifles that are in the same price point. The Geissele lower parts kit. Again, this is something that you guys can buy as upgrades for your rifles that are on here. Some of these parts include the front and rear takedown pins. They have a checkering on here. Makes it a little bit easier. Your magazine release has that same kind of checkering on there. The Geissele Maritime bolt catch. I never really understood why they call that maritime, but it's very much oversized, which makes it much easier to be able to engage and disengage. You have the Geissele oversized trigger guard in here as well. They have their ambi selector. And again, it's a lower receiver parts kit that you would be able to purchase as an upgrade. You can also individual parts you could buy as well. Say you just wanted to buy the front and rear takedown pins. The trigger that's on here is exceptional. This trigger is specifically for this rifle. It's referred to as the SSA-EX trigger with lightning bow. Lightning bow refers to the curvature of the trigger. This is more of a straight rather than the standard curve that you would expect on most triggers. And Geissele's triggers are probably the best in the industry. There's very few companies I think would even compete with them. Geissele triggers are used on pretty much any SOCOM rifle you would get. You would see a combination of Knights triggers and these. They make these things in very different types of single stage, double stage, even selective fire. This is the new Geissele A17 pistol grip. It's got a nice feel to it. It definitely has a little bit more of an arch on here, so it's definitely relatively comfortable. The upper receiver on here is a standard mil-spec type, but it's made of a Geissele forging. The fit up to lower receiver is excellent. Now, this particular rifle is anodized black. You do have other colors you can get. There's several different other ones. I tend to prefer my black rifles as black rifles, so that's sort of why I stuck with it like it is. Now, the handguards you have on here, the handguards on Geissele are free-floating, of course. Again, this one has these press-fit notches on here. The reason why you want to do a steel press-fit is because if you were to have a QD socket, which has a steel ball bearing, and it engages the a ring in the QD slot, you have a steel ball on an aluminum receiver. Eventually, that steel ball is going to wear out that aluminum receiver, and it's going to stop working. By having the steel insert in there, you're not going to have that issue. So you have a 13.5-inch super modular rail, Mark 16 M-Lock, again black. Again, M-Lock currently. I also have the Magpul rail covers on here. Quite fond of those. Now, the barrel we have on here is a 16-inch cold hammer forged barrel, chrome line barrel. Now, these come in 14.5-inch. There's a couple of ones you can get, different ones you can get depending on what you're looking for. I particularly wanted the 16-inch myself. This barrel is, I would definitely say it's a heavier weight. Manufactured from 4150 chrome moly vanadium steel. And the rifling twist of 1 and turn in 7, again, there's a lot of special operations used with these types of barrels, so the 1 and 7 is ideal for use with the 77 grain open tip match type ammunition. Now the muzzle device on here is for the Huxworks suppressor. Again, the Huxworks can, reverse flow can. This is an excellent can. Not only does it do an excellent job of suppression, but you don't get as much gas back in your face. The charging handle is the Geissele airborne charging handle, 3D machined. This works very well as a gas buster type charging handle as well. You have a lip up here to prevent gas from coming back in the shooter's face. I probably would have gotten one with a little bit longer wings on it. This was a little bit small for me, but they do offer ones that are different as well. Made of 7075 T6 aircraft grade aluminum, the same aluminum as the upper and lower receiver. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take a look at some of the internal components. And taking a closer look at the lower receiver, again, mil-spec, Super Duty lower receiver, maritime bolt catch, ambi safety. Again, we can take a look in here. We can see the trigger. What we're taking a look now is the buffer. This is another proprietary part manufactured by Geissele. It's called the Super 42 braided buffer and H2 buffer. So what's unique about this is the spring. This is a braided wire spring, which gives you a lot more strength than the standard spring that normally would come with. The testing that they've done at Geissele has basically shown a vast amount of more recycles that this will handle versus the standard buffer. Now, is this something that's really worthwhile getting? Super Duty use, a lot of full auto fire. I think this is an excellent upgrade. Anytime you can get anything that's going to increase your reliability is really a good thing. The buffer that you have here, this is an H2. Because the way this is gassed, it uses an H2. This buffer is also proprietary to the spring, the way that it fits over. But this is something else that you certainly can buy as an upgrade to your rifle if you so chose. Again, taking a closer look at the airborne charging handle. Again, it's a low profile. You have your lip on here that prevents gas from coming back and hitting the shooter in the face suppressed. The bolt is probably what is the most unique aspect of this entire bolt carrier group, and the fact is that this bolt is manufactured from a forged piece of steel, unlike regular standard steel. And what that does is it increases the overall strength of the bolt significantly. The first time I ever saw this done was by Schmeiser in Germany, and that probably was well over 10, 15 years ago. That was the first time I saw use of a forged bolt. And it has a big reliability enhancement, probably the most significant that's on here. Now taking a look at the carrier, this has a very unique finish referred to as the nano weapon coating. It's used on the bolt and the bolt carrier group. It was developed by Picatinny Arsenal as a durable solid lubricant. It reduces the friction while increasing abrasion resistance, wear resistance, corrosion resistance, as well as surface hardness. It's like a chrome nitride. Surface hardness of 82 Rockwell reduces the amount of lubrication needed. Only defense contractor in the world to be able to apply this coating, manufactured by Gwind Manufacturing. So that's the bolt carrier group itself. Again, the bolt carrier group is something else that you could procure for your own rifle as an upgrade. Again, the forged Geissele upper receiver, the rail. Now underneath here you have a mid-length gas system, and you have a low-profile gas block, which is also manufactured and designed by Geissele, and it is drilled and pinned. Again, those of you guys who know me, I'm significantly a proponent of drilling and pinning the gas blocks. The optic guide here is a Swamp Fox 1.5 to 10 power optic on a Swamp Fox mount. And I'd added the MBus Pro front and rear sights, and of course I have the Huxworks sound suppressor. So reassembling, strap your charging handle back in. Now again, the overall fit and finish is second to none. For as far as the attention to details, it's done wonderfully. So then we're going to do is take this to the range and we're going to see how it shoots. We had no reliability issues whatsoever. The best group we got was with Federated Ammunition M193 ball at just over an inch, so 1 MOA at 100 yards. The gun consistently was under two MOA with some different ammunition that I had messed with. The best one I got at the range was just over an inch. Smooth as can be. The quality is what you would expect. Now, is this kind of rifle for everybody? No, just because of the price point. There's other rifles that will do similar things. But the refinement that you get here, specifically the quality of the barrel, I think probably one of the things that stands out most about this rifle is the quality of the barrel. The bolts is something that I'd love to see, some more long-term, to see, what the benefits of the forged bolt versus the standard. The material they're using is a Carpenter 158 Plus, which is, it's an improved metal over the standard Carpenter 158. So I'd like to see some more details and some more longevity of how that holds up over time. The handguards, I've always been fond of the handguards. The one thing about the Geissele handguards is they're bricky. They're a little bit on the heavier side. Especially you can see that in the rear. So they're a little bit on the heavier side. Rigidity, accuracy, trigger is second to none. The stock I probably would change out to get something a little bit different, more like a Magpul CTR type stock. I'm a little more fond of those than I am of the B5. The grip was nice. I was sort of surprised that I was going to like that. I tend to like the Magpul Maya grips. That's generally what I tend to go for. But overall, Geissele has put out a rifle that does pretty much anything that you could want. And the neatest thing about this is all these features that are on here, you can get yourself as an upgrade. Now, the ammunition that we had used was by Federated Ammunition. I'd like to thank them for supporting our channel. Federated Ammunition is a new ammunition manufacturer out of Idaho. They make all their ammunition in-house, meaning they make their own brass, they make their own bullets. Most manufacturers just are assembly. They just assemble. They don't actually manufacture the components there. The only parts that they procure is the propellant and the primers. The ammunition they're making, this particular 5.56 is made to the basic 5.56 M193 standards. I'm not going to say NATO because those of you who are familiar with 5.56, the only 5.56 NATO is the M855, the 62 grain projectile. This would be the earlier pre-NATO M193. About 3,200 foot a second, 55 grain full metal jacket. By all means, military grade ammunition. So if you're looking for some good American-made ammunition, I would check these guys out. They do a wonderful job. And I'd thank our friends over at Challenge Targets. I tend to really enjoy shooting challenge targets. It's nice getting that immediate feedback rather than hitting paper. The only time we shoot paper these days is if we want to get group size. Outside of that, we're shooting at steel. So those of you who are interested in getting any steel targets, check out them and use the code SAS, and you can save 10% on any steel target that's on their page. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you do, please click like, please subscribe, and even better, share.